The ladies take care of home business in the crown jewel of the Tennessee Valley, and the men have a huge test at home. They split the pair, but we talk about that and more coming up next here on the Alabama A&M Basketball Review. Let's go, y'all.
Welcome to the Alabama A&M Basketball Review. Highlights, exclusive team interviews, and analysis with men's head coach Dante Jackson and women's head coach Don Thornton. We're breaking down the games, reliving the big moments, and getting you geared up for the next big battle. And now, join us on our journey with our host, Chauncey Sanders.
Hello and welcome to the latest edition of the Alabama A&M Basketball Review here on Swag TV, and also joining us live on the Alabama A&M Athletics YouTube channel as well. Today we're joined by our guests, of course, with the ladies. We start first with head coach Don Thornton, as well as our assistant and Brianna Brown. Coach, is glad to have you all. You guys are smoking hot, 8-1 in SWAC right now. And, I mean, this is just unprecedented times. Could you imagine this when you guys were getting started here in the summertime with preseason conditioning?
Absolutely. I think Coach Bree is my recruiting coordinator. So just being able to put together a team, those puzzles, those missing pieces of the puzzle, we were able to handpick specifically what we needed. So we knew we had the ingredients, just being able to pull it out of them. But coming in, I felt like we thought that we had the roster for where we are right now, for sure.
And Coach Brown, listen, you have been here beside her all these years now as an assistant. Could you really imagine where this team would be at right now, here at the start of the month in February, sitting at 8-1 atop at the standings?
Yes, without a doubt. I think the biggest thing when it comes to, recruiting is making sure that you can recruit players who can look, speak, talk, everything that embodies what our head coach is. And if you look at our bench, you go back and roll the film, our big energy, it all embodies what Coach T has put on the floor. Being with her for the past 5-6 years, without a doubt, I can see us being exactly where we are.
Definitely. And I want to get started with the big energy starting first Thursday, defeating Bethune-Cookman 49-44. And speaking of the big energy, your bigs were huge for you. I mean, between Davenport and also with Jada Belton also corralling 8 rebounds there. How big was it for your front court leading in this matchup for you guys against the Wildcats?
I thought that we didn't play Lady Bulldog basketball versus Bethune. We were able to pull it out. So thankfully that Moses stepped up in a big way for us when we needed somebody to step up for us. So I thought that was really, really big for us. But it was a good game, being able to have a team to play us a lot in zone, and then to try to kind of slow us down, which means we only scored 49 points, but and we want to score 70. We want to score 70. The goal is 70. So, yeah, 70 is the goal. So, but again, a win is a win. I'd rather have a ugly win than a pretty loss any day. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I hear you on that. So let's start in the first quarter. Like you said, it wasn't pretty. You guys trailed 13-7, but what has been the trend in this second quarter for you all is the huge wins there. You come out huge, 19-6 in that second quarter. What was the adjustment coming out of the first into the second quarter?
Well, defensively too, Coach Bree is also like my defensive coordinator as well. And so we've been together so long. Defensively, I think she kind of just understands what I want, what's best for this program. And really being able to say, look, hey, Coach, we need to do something differently if we need to do something differently. And I think, she can just talk about that a little bit because, I mean, it's obviously my program, but, a lot of what she does defensively, that's her thing. So she could talk about it. That's her thing.
Coach, let's talk about it. This defense is huge.
Well, we pride ourselves on defense. Our goal is to keep teams 48 or less throughout the game, and that fuels our offense as well. So if we have a low-scoring offensive game, that means we're not doing what we're supposed to be doing defensively. And that is why the first quarter looked the way it did. And in the second quarter, you seen a change in it because we got stops defensively. So whenever we're in the huddle and we're talking and we going at them, it's because they're probably not doing what they're supposed to do defensively. And even if we're scouting a team and what we thought should have been the answer, if we got to make in-game adjustments, then we'll do that. Me and Coach Tia talk, hey, they're doing this. Bree, they ball screens, what we do, they hurting us. We sit and we talk throughout those timeouts, and we just make those in-game adjustments.
I love it. And with that, you guys go on a huge 16-0 run in the second quarter there, led by that defense. So clearly things were turning around defensively for the offense to get going like that. So we fast forward now. We're in the second half, and you guys are leading big. And you guys start out with the run there in the third quarter after leading 26-19 going into the half. But let's talk a little bit about that fourth quarter there, where things got a little tricky, right? The Wildcats come back a little bit. There's a brief scuffle, and now suddenly now you're without the reigning SWAC player of the week in Kayla Walker going into the fourth quarter with maybe 8 minutes left in the game.
Right.
Just talk about that situation and what was going through your mind during that timeout break.
One, I think discipline is something that every coach wants to make sure that they can have control over with their team. And I think, it wasn't even a bad thing that really happened. Kayla just stepped on the floor and, being knowledgeable of the rules so you don't make those mistakes. Like I told Kayla, it could have cost us the game, right? Had Karaya not hit the three to give us the momentum shift, then who knows what that would have looked like for us. But we never want to put ourselves in a situation to where we made an emotional decision that could cost you the game. And I think that was the biggest learning experience that we want to try to take away from that situation.
Definitely. And Coach Bree, I want you to talk a little bit about how huge it was for your depth to come in, despite losing Walker and also Palmer, which can't go without saying. She's sitting in top 15 in the conference right now for rebounding. So for Wimberly as well as Samaya, but also I want to talk and give some love to KG and Griffin as well for having huge moments. How big was it to have that young group come in and fill for Walker there in the waning minutes?
I believe that they all understand what their role is. When they come in, they know we can't afford a drop-off. And the minutes that they play, whether they play big minutes, little minutes, everything is important to what we're trying to do on the hill. And so them stepping in and knowing that we just lost Kayla Walker and AP just went to the locker room as well, they know we got to win the game. You got to do whatever you need to do to make sure that A&M wins the game.
Okay, ladies. Now, they tie the game up. It's a timeout break. What are you preaching there in the huddle? What was the play draw up there? But you don't have to give me all the sauce, but just a little bit of it about how we led to the SWAC Impact Player of the Week and Karaya Beck. How we said, you're Karaya, shooting that three and knocking it down to give you guys the go-ahead lead.
I don't know if there's a shot that she doesn't believe that she shouldn't take. But, Karaya is very efficient at what she does. That wasn't even a play that was designed. I think we actually ended up getting a rebound to a kick out, to a pass or something. And, she was able to knock that shot down. However, like I said, I think the momentum really kind of just shifted at that point. And then we were going to go down the stretch. We're going to defend. So, that was something that, we already had talked about what we needed to do to stop them from scoring. And we just need to be able to hit a shot.
And then also, Mo Davenport. We go too long without talking about her. Perfect from the field, 19 points. And she also had 8 rebounds to go along with that. How huge was that to have that leadership from her in this game?
Mo is definitely a pro. There's nothing shy about, what they've accomplished in their career. USA gold medalist, won a USA gold medal for the 16 and under team, one of the top post players to come out of the state of Alabama. So, I'm just more excited about their growth and everything that they've been able to do being here at A&M, for sure.
Definitely. I love that. And so let's fast forward. You guys take care of business against FAMU Saturday in the doubleheader, 63-50 in that matchup. Just give me a little bit about what your thoughts was in that game and how you thought you guys made the adjustments from Thursday into Saturday.
Again, we went back and looked at the film and looked at some mistakes that we made versus Bethune, and how I think we were a little bit relaxed with them. And then just being able to pivot from that to understand, hey, look, okay, we got to get back on the winning side. And winning for us doesn't look like a 9-point win. It doesn't look like a 10-point win. If we defend and do what we're supposed to do, holding teams up under their average where teams aren't getting more than 48, 50 points a game is something that we really take pride in doing. And so we needed to get back to where we needed to be defensively so we can get our offense where we want our offense to be.
Definitely, Coach.
Yes, everything the coach she just said. Like I said, our defense will be the engine to everything that we do. We know that we didn't play so well, didn't have the game that we wanted versus Bethune. We needed to make sure that we turned the page and came out being the defensive team that we know that we are. And when that happens and everybody is all clicking and we all together, you'll get the results that we need.
Oh, I love it. And the results are definitely showing on this 8-game winning streak. So like you said, Coach, let's flip the page forward because now we have Grambling and Southern up next on our ticket list. 6:30 p.m. tip-off, of course, first against Grambling. Let's start there because they're coming in a little bit off balance as well, but they'll be at home. We know that environment can get a little tricky. And they're also having a young lady that is absolutely killing it right now in conference, and Shania Nunn. Right now, she's third leading scorer in the conference and also second in rebounding. So what's our focus there with her? What stands out on tape for you guys with her?
Well, we're going to defend. I don't think that we ever dial in on one specific player when we're talking about what we're doing schematically defensively. I think like we held the leading scorer for Texas Southern to 0 points for the entire game. So the goal is definitely to defend and do what we're supposed to do defensively. And so I don't think that there's one player that, I think we even did a good job versus Prairie View with CJ White. We held her to like 4 or 5 points, right? So defensively, I think that we should be fine. Making sure that the unit is solid is the most important part.
Oh, I love it. Making sure the unit is solid, of course. So that game is a tip-off at 6:30 p.m. That's going to be Thursday at Grambling. You can find that game on Swag TV. And then, of course, Saturday, the matinee doubleheader against Southern. We know Southern is a reigning Swag champion, and what comes with that, what can you expect out of the Lady Jags in that matchup?
Southern is going to be Southern. Their fans are going to be really, really supportive. And I think it's a very great atmosphere for us to be able to play in. Since we've been playing so well now, going to Southern at this point, I think it's really good for us. But there's a bitter taste in our mouths, and I'm sure that Kayla and Mo and the APs are going to step up and really give us a good showing. So I'm hoping for the best for this program. We've been doing a really great job of staying locked in and doing the things that we need to do. So this is going to be a great road trip for us.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. And it's a great test. I'm looking forward to seeing how you all fare out in this test. Another good one. You can't find any sleepers in this SWAC schedule, I tell you. That tip-off for the game will also be at 2:30. Once again, that'll be on Saturday, February 7th. You can find that game on Swag TV as well. A special thanks again to you guys for joining the show. Of course, head coach Don Thornton, but also and Coach Brianna Brown. Glad to have you on. Love to have you on again. And that will do it for our women's edition. When we come back, we'll have the highlights, of course, and also our men's team. Join us here on the Alabama A&M Basketball Review coming up next.
We are Alabama A&M University, a world-class institution where future leaders prepare to make their impact on the world. Here, education isn't just about learning, it's about leading, with nationally recognized programs in STEM, agriculture, business, and the arts. We are inspired by our rich heritage and bold future, carrying the spirit of the Hill with excellence. Alabama A&M University. Start here, go anywhere.
And welcome back to the Alabama A&M Basketball Review. I'm now joined by the head coach of the men's basketball program, the 11th men's basketball head coach in program history, and Dante Jackson. Coach, how are you? 3 games in 6 days. It's been a whirlwind, man, I tell you.
Yeah, it's definitely been a whirlwind. First off, thanks for having me. It's been a whirlwind. Listen, that Houston trip kind of put us behind, but, happy to actually be home and, compete in front of our crowd, and great crowds this weekend. So excited that Bulldog Nation showed up to support us.
Indeed, definitely excited for the Bulldog Nation to join us this weekend. And you guys, we're back home. Let's start first with the game Saturday in the doubleheader. You guys handled business there, 72-65 in that matchup. First of all, what stuck out to you with Coach Ward and this team coming into the meet?
Oh, man, Coach Ward, they did a great job, man. That first half, we played really well defensively. We got probably held them to a couple field goals early, and then probably had like a 12-minute run where we held them scoreless, or maybe gave up a free throw or something without a field goal. Tough part of it is we just didn't capitalize ourselves because, we just wasn't making shots, but we were defending at a high level. Then Coach Ward, they did a great job, kind of making their run, and then we staved it off going into halftime. And one thing I say about Coach, man, do a great job of switching defenses and just kind of keeping you off balance. So, incredible, job they did. I was just happy that we got the win.
I hear you on that, getting the win there. But let's start in the first half because, like you said, this defense that you guys held, I'm telling you, the saxophones were playing in that one. You know what I'm saying? As the kids say today, the saxophones got real loud for the Rattlers in that first half. You held them at one point, 21-7. Then it progressed even more there. But then we saw a switch there late in the first half as you guys went into halftime, only scoring 5 points after that 21-6 lead there.
And that's one of the things we've been trying to tell our guys, like, we have to put the onus on attacking the basket. Sometimes we just get to settling for jump shots. And I'm like, you're bailing people out, and you're not giving the officials a reason to call a call when you just shoot a jump shot. And that was kind of one of our situations we looked at. We're in maybe 8 out of 10 possessions, we're shooting jump threes or contested twos instead of just attacking the basket. And when we attack the basket, good things happen for us.
Good things come to those who attack the basket. I hear you on that. But I want to talk about that defense a little more because I don't want that to go without saying. 16% you held them on.
Yes.
That's why I'm telling you, the saxophones got really loud in here. I don't know if it was from the march of maroon and white or if it was from the defense, but y'all held it down there in the first half.
Well, I mean, defensively, like we try to pride ourselves on getting after defensively. We have to, that's one of our, DNAs, we want to make sure we guard people, contest at the highest point. We always talk about guarding our yard. We say it's the 3 C's: close out, contain, contest. We want to have those 3 C's every time we guard. And, I think we did a great job against FAM. The thing about FAM compared to different other teams, they have position guys, so if their guys are shooters, they're shooters. They're not, they don't have guys that can just kind of shoot and break you down. So it was good for us to really get after them and just kind of, hold them in check early.
Definitely, you guys did just that. So let's fast forward now. Let's fast forward into the second half. Karan comes out, 20 of his 22 points are in the second half. How big was he there for you guys against the Rattlers?
Big because, we challenged him. We're like, man, you're not playing your best basketball. We're like, what are you doing? Like, you kind of going through the motions. And then, because, start that game, he steals the tip and gets a layup. But then he gets 2 bad fouls, and he's kind of in and out of the lineup because of foul trouble in the first half. And I'm like, hey, man, you got to pick it up. You have to get going. And, credit him. He got to the rim, got to the line, shoot the 3. And that's one of the things I've been trying to tell him. Like, listen, man, sometimes you take these deep threes, and it's killing your percentages. You need to get to the line. There's nothing wrong with getting to the line and, tiptoeing it and making an easier shot. So he did a good job of that in the second half and really got downhill and got to the free throw line, and he really got us going in that second half.
Oh, he definitely did so. And then he also had some help there from Kentavious Dozier as well, of course, 20 points in that matchup. and he's just been moving right along well for you guys. It feels like nothing's changed but the jersey color for him.
Yeah, he knows the expectation. He knows what we expect out of him every game. So, just happy that he came out and performed at a high level. And, he had it going early. Karan got it going early in the second half. Then Contavious was able to help close it out.
Definitely. So let's move forward now. We know the Wildcats were coming in hot. They were defeating teams and taking names after in Alabama State and also Jackson State as well. What was your mindset with Reggie Theus and the Wildcats coming in?
It was I knew going into that game it would be a tough game because tough team to prepare for because they have 4 or 5 guys that can get downhill, that can really put the pressure on the defense. And, we came into practice that day, and I had to kind of get on our guys about this is going to be like a championship atmosphere, man. You know what I'm saying? You're playing a team that can easily be in a conference championship game, so you have to bring your A game. And I'm like, if you don't bring your A game, we're not going to be on the winning side of things. So you have to come ready to compete at a high level. And, I got to give credit to them. They came out and they were really, really good. And they kind of, got us, got us down early. And, we had to claw back the whole night. And we just kind of got to tell people you can't build too many big deficits and think you're going to come back and win.
I understand that. And also it was game 3.
Yeah.
For you all in a week period.
Yes.
Which is extremely tough.
Yes. It's almost like playing an NBA schedule.
Right.
Play 1, play 2, play 2, play 2 is like you just playing, and it don't give you a lot of time for practice and preparation. And, anything you do is about preparation. Right. I tell people it's all about your 5 Ps. Proper preparation prevents poor performance. And when you having a team of that caliber coming in, you really have to really sit down and prepare and be ready to play them.
And you guys, at some point, like you said, you did put up a fight there.
Yeah.
Where it got a little out of hand early in the first half. You make some adjustments there going into the second media break. And then you guys are rolling. You pull within 10 at the half. What was your halftime message to the team?
Well, I told them, they're doing a good job of denying us and, playing on top of us. But we have to have our spacing and set our guys up and do the little things to operate. And, we came out the second half, defended. We got a couple stops early, couple stops within that 7 minutes, but we just couldn't capitalize. And we getting stop after stop after stop. We don't capitalize. So that was our time to make a run, and it gives them another run to make, and that was just kind of tough on our end.
Definitely was tough on your end. We know you guys pulled within 8 coming out of the halftime break, but then they kind of broke away there late in the game, defeating you all 80-62. Following after that, we know it's a quick turnaround. You guys have to prepare for what's the mindset for the team moving forward after the game?
Listen, man, it was a bad day at the office. Like I told our guys, man, tough part was Pieces and Dozier go 4 for 25. We ain't gonna win a lot of games. They go 4 for 25. That's the tough part about it. And then, I told them, we got to do a better job of taking advantage of our post opportunities. And I didn't think we did a good job of that. We go in there. Bethune is really in a situation. They 6'7", 6'8" across the board. We got to make sure Easton touched the ball. Got to make sure Graham touched the ball so we can get some high percentage shots to slow them down. So, something to build on. We get to see them again. That's the best thing about it.
And that is the best thing about it. You guys will see them down the line, both the Wildcats and Florida A&M, as we get ready for that stretch coming after this one here that you got coming up. Another difficult one. There's no off days here in the SWAC. You know what I'm saying? So we look forward to seeing you guys bounce back like round ball. You know, both of us are both Sean Carter fans.
Yeah,
you
got to bounce back like the round ball.
I hear you. And with that, you have Southern first, right, in a doubleheader. What stands out to you about the Jags so far?
Man, MJ, man, one of the leading scorers in the SWAC, 20 points a game. We got to do a good job on him. Other guard, and I hope I don't botch the young fella name, Oshuti, shoots the ball at a high level. We got to do a great job on their guard play. And then they big guy inside, man. He does a good job of patrolling the paint. One of the things I know for us, we have to be ready for them when they're switching defenses. They are going to come with that 1-3-1. They're going to come with some different zones. They're going to play some different man-to-man pressure. So we have to make sure that we're taking care of the ball. And, something that we didn't do the last game. We didn't take care of the ball good enough. So we got to make sure we take care of the ball against their pressure defenses and just make sure, we're attacking the glass.
You guys were pretty even killed, and you also led in rebounding against FAMU. But Jaguars here for Southern, they present a different challenge because they're leading right now in conference on the glass offensively. How do you kind of plan on keeping them off the glass there?
Well, that's one of the things. in the past, you know, especially since the point guard went down, I can't think of the young fella name right now. He went down, and that was one of their scorers. So, like, they haven't been scoring the ball at a high level like they were scoring the ball last year. So now they're going to get offensive rebounds that create extra scoring opportunities. So that's one of the things that we have to do a great job of is boxing out and stopping them from getting those extra opportunities. If we can limit them to one and done, then we put ourselves in a good position to win the game.
I like that. I like that a lot. Keeping yourselves in a good position to win the game. Let's start there. 5 p.m. tip-off again for the Jaguars and the Bulldogs. That will be in Louisiana, of course. And, of course, you can find that game on Swag TV. But then Monday, you guys have the showdown, of course, going back to your roots at Grambling State. Sure, that one's going to be a bit of an emotional one for those around you. But you and I have talked about this. We've discussed this previously as you were named the head coach earlier before the season got started. Just what are your feelings now today about that game as we prepare to move on to Grambling?
Listen, like nothing really changes. A lot of history for me there, like a lot of great friends, a lot of great relationships, you know. I grew a lot as a person, as a coach there. So, you know, still a place that I'm always going to hold dear, you know, in my heart. But at the end of the day, it's about going to win the game. You know, I think the toughest thing to go there and see all the banners you put up, you know, like, you know, so, I mean, that's going to be the thing. But at the end of the day, now it's time to put banners up here.
I hear you on that. Time to put some banners up here because it's a little empty. You look around here, ain't too many banners in this new facility here. So it's about time to get some paint done around here.
Down.
I hear you on that. But I want to get to you personally there because you made a great point that you made a lot of strides there as a head coach and as a person. But where do you think you made the most at Grambling as a person?
I would just say, you know, in my approach is being a father. You know, being a family, you know, because things kind of slowed down there. The pace of life wasn't as fast and stuff like that. So, you know, just really just, you know, kind of growing as a person, just, you know, with my wife and things of that nature. So with trying to be a father for my kids, but as a coach, I would just say, you know, man, really just having that opportunity to really lock in on your craft, because being kind of a rural area, not very much to do. Spend a lot of time just locking in on your craft and trying to become, you know, better at it. So it just gave me more opportunity to just keep working and seeking some things that I wanted to do, you know, career-wise, and keep accomplishing.
I love it. That's really huge, and we really appreciate you going that in depth about how much you were able to grow over that time as a head coach. And the tip-off against the Tigers is at 6:30 p.m. They're the number 3 scoring defensive team, but of course we know you guys have a lot of firepower on your end. The confidence there as we get ready to close out.
Listen, it's gonna be a great fight. Coach Carey is one of my better friends in this business. We've been battling since 2010 or something like that, you know, when he was at Washington Venice and I was at Central State. So, you know, we met in West Virginia and we've been locked in ever since, man. So it's one of them things where, you know, I know he gonna have his guys ready to play, we'll be ready to play. So it's time to, you know, get out there and, you know, compete.
Speak for all of us when I say I am certainly excited for that matchup, to see you two head coaches go up against each other. I mean, we saw a treat here at the event center between you and Charlie Ward and also Reggie Theus, but now it continues on here as we continue in the SWAC schedule play.
It's not an off day in the SWAC.
No off days in the SWAC. I hear you on that. Well, that's going to do it for the Alabama A&M basketball review. We appreciate head coach Dante Jackson for joining the show, of course. And once again, we ask you to like, subscribe to our YouTube channel, of course, and tune in to the upcoming matchups on Swag TV. But for now, we say thank you. And of course, Coach,
go Bulldogs.
Thank you for watching the Alabama A&M basketball review with head coaches Dante Jackson and Don Thornton. Your support is important to us and the outstanding students here on the Hill. We encourage you to support the entire athletic program and become a season ticket holder, or be a part of something much bigger and become a torchbearer. Visit AAMU.edu for more information. And until next time, go Bulldogs!